Enjoying your vacation? His voice was smooth and rich, like the amber drink in his glass. I nodded, suddenly feeling shy. It's been nice. Nice? He raised an eyebrow, lips curving into a smirk. You don't sound very convinced. Let me guess. You're here to escape something. The words struck deeper than they should have, and I stiffened. How could he see right through me? Before I could respond, he held up a hand with a small chuckle. Sorry, that was forward of me. You don't seem like the type who does this often. Does what? I asked, a playful edge creeping into my voice. Sits alone at a bar, looking like she's waiting for something to happen. I laughed despite myself. The sound was unfamiliar yet freeing. Maybe I am. His name was Liam. He was from Boston, a consultant on a much-needed break. We talked for hours, the conversation light and effortless. I told him only the basics, my name, where I was from, a vague out west, and that I worked in marketing. A half-truth. Not once did I mention my husband or children. For the first time in years, I felt seen, not as a wife or a mother, but as a person. That night, as I walked back to my room, I told myself it was harmless. Just a conversation. But deep down, I knew something had shifted. I wasn't just escaping my routine, I was rediscovering a part of myself I had long buried. The next morning, I felt different, lighter, more alive. I wandered the resort, half hoping to bump into Liam, half afraid of what might happen if I did. By mid-afternoon, my curiosity won. I sent him a message through the resort's app. Me, hey, are you free this evening? His reply came almost instantly. Liam, I was hoping you'd ask. Meet me by the beach bar at 7. That evening, I stood in front of the mirror, smoothing down the soft fabric of a dress I had packed on a whim. It was red, bold. I had never worn it back home. My husband would have told me it was too much. But tonight I didn't care. I wanted to be noticed. When I walked into the restaurant, Liam was already there, waiting by the bar. His eyes lit up when he saw me, and a rush of warmth spread through me. You look stunning, he said, his voice sincere. Thank you, I murmured, feeling a blush creep up my neck. He offered me his arm, and we were led to a table overlooking the ocean. The setting sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, and for a moment, I let myself believe I was exactly who I appeared to be, a woman on vacation, enjoying an evening with a charming stranger. We talked, we laughed, we shared stories. The hours melted away, the space between us shrinking with every lingering glance and accidental touch. When he walked me back to my room, his hand rested lightly on the small of my back. At my door, he paused, his eyes searching mine. Good night, he said softly, his voice filled with unspoken possibilities. Good night, I whispered before slipping inside, my heart pounding. I leaned against the door, breath shaky, trying to process what had just happened. I had crossed a line, one I couldn't uncross. But as I lay in bed, my skin still tingling from his touch, I realized something startling. I didn't regret it. For the first time in years, I felt alive. The evening unfolded like a dream. We dined on fresh seafood and sipped wine, sharing laughter and stories as the ocean breeze danced around us. Yet beneath the light-hearted conversation, there was something unspoken, an undeniable tension that grew with every glance, every accidental brush of our fingers. After dinner, he stood and offered me his hand. Walk with me, he asked. I hesitated only for a moment before slipping my hand into his. His grip was warm and steady as he led me down the quiet stretch of beach. The world felt far away, the only sounds the rhythmic crash of waves and the occasional call of a seagull. We walked in silence, the anticipation between us palpable. Finally, he stopped, turning to face me. The moon cast a soft glow over him, accentuating the quiet intensity in his eyes. I can't stop thinking about you, he admitted, his voice low and sincere. Every moment we're apart, I find myself counting down until I see you again. My breath caught in my throat. I wanted to say something, but words failed me. Instead, I reached up, my fingers lightly brushing against his cheek. He leaned into my touch, his eyes closing briefly before meeting mine again. This feels like something I shouldn't want, I whispered, my voice barely above the wind. Maybe, he said, stepping closer. But it also feels right, doesn't it? I nodded, my heart pounding. He hesitated for a moment, searching my expression, then slowly lowered his head. His lips brushed softly against mine in a kiss, filled with both uncertainty and longing. It was a question, a moment suspended in time, and when I didn't pull away, he deepened it, his arms wrapping around me in an embrace that felt as natural as breathing. We stood there for what felt like forever, lost in the moment. When we finally pulled apart, he rested his forehead against mine, his hands still holding me close. The night felt infinite. And for the first time in a long time, I felt truly present, free from the weight of expectations and responsibilities. As the evening drew to a close, we lingered by the shoreline, neither of us wanting to say goodbye. "Stay a little longer?" he asked softly, hope flickering in his eyes. I exhaled, torn between the life I had come from and the fleeting sense of freedom I had found here. "I don't know," I admitted. "No pressure," he said, offering a reassuring smile. "Just, let's not think about tomorrow." "Not yet." I smiled back, letting the moment be enough. For now, that was all I needed.